little sister has returned. This is a story that happened to my younger sister. About 2 years ago, she was still in university. My sister was a very shy and introverted girl. She hardly ever went out with friends. Her daily life only revolved around studying and coming home, nothing else. That day, it was already 5 in the afternoon, and the sky was beginning to darken. Normally, she would have been home by then, but today she had not yet returned. I thought she might have had an extra class, so I didn't think much about it until around 6:30 p.m. when I realized she was still not home. I called her, but she didn't pick up. I started to worry and told my parents about it, but they told me not to be too anxious. She was no longer a child, she could take care of herself. Maybe she would come home soon. Still, I had a vague sense of unease. Around 7 p.m., my parents had to leave for their night shift at work. I called my sister again. This time, her phone was completely turned off. That was very strange. Normally, whenever I called or texted, she would reply immediately. Even if she couldn't answer, she would call back as soon as possible. But today, why was it different? By 10 p.m., my parents had returned home, but my sister was still nowhere to be seen. Now, even my parents began to worry. We contacted a few of her friends, but all of them said she hadn't been in class today. None of them had seen her. Panicked, my parents and I rushed to the police station to report her missing. However, after searching the area around her school and our house, the police found nothing. My sister had disappeared without a trace. Time passed, and she had been missing for 3 months. We had even started preparing for the worst. Until one day, during my final year of university, on my way home, I suddenly saw my sister. I was overjoyed and ran to her. The moment she saw me, she burst into tears as if she had been holding in deep anguish. I immediately took her home. When my parents saw her, they were both relieved and shocked. They rushed over to hug her tightly, and our whole family wept with joy. Finally, we could breathe a sigh of relief. However, I felt something was off about her reaction. I couldn't tell if she was truly happy or secretly afraid. Maybe she just needed time to recover after being away from home for so long. I took my sister to her room and asked her what had happened during the past months. Where had she been? She smiled faintly, a strange, eerie smile, and then softly said, "I was kidnapped." I was stunned and quickly asked, "Then how did you escape?" She remained expressionless and replied, "It was actually quite simple. I killed my kidnapper." The way she said it was so disturbingly calm that it sent chills down my spine. I couldn't help but wonder, was this really my sister? For the following days, she locked herself in her room. I thought she was still trying to recover from the trauma. One day, I couldn't hold back any longer and asked, "You said you killed your kidnapper. Where is his body?" She told me that on the outskirts of the city, there was a forest. Inside that forest, there was a cabinet. The body of the kidnapper was hidden inside. I didn't know whether to believe her or not, but I was so shocked that I rushed to tell my parents. After some hesitation, they decided to report it to the police. The police took us to the location my sister had described. Sure enough, deep in the forest, they found a large storage cabinet. The very presence of such a cabinet in the middle of the forest was already bizarre. But when they opened it, they found something even more horrifying. Inside was a heavily decomposed body, wearing my sister's clothes. I couldn't believe my eyes. But the truth was right in front of me. The police took the body for further investigation. The forensic examination confirmed that the remains belonged to my sister. When we received the results, my parents and I were in utter disbelief. If the one who had died was my sister, then who was the person living in our house? The truth was terrifying. Everything my sister had told us was the complete opposite of reality. She wasn't the one who had escaped and injured the kidnapper. She was the kidnapper. She was the one who had abducted and killed my sister. But why had she done this? And why had she dared to impersonate my sister and return to our home? How had she managed to change her face and body to look exactly like my sister?